Hey, good morning, everyone. Pastor Chris Ireland here. Welcome to another Poolside Chat. I got a question a couple weeks ago from a friend, and it was asked, does the Bible say anything about the end times or about Armageddon? Simple answer is yes. It says a lot. Most people go to Revelation. Some people go to Joel. Some people go to various books. I always like to go to Matthew, because Matthew, I believe, talks about today. Talks about current events as it relates to the end times. So this is called, in Bible terms, it's in Matthew 24, and it's called the Olivet Discourse. This is more just a conversation when you mention discourse. Jesus had been arguing with the Pharisees, the religious leaders in Jerusalem. They're walking back to Bethany, where they spend a lot of time. I think you've heard me say before, Bethany is kind of like his respite, his rest stop. Somewhere I'd really like to visit, Bethany. And on the way back, the disciples look over his shoulder and they tell Jesus, "Wow, look at Jerusalem, look at the temple. Isn't that magnificent?" And that's what precipitates this conversation. And it says, I guess starting in verse 3, Matthew 24, verse 3, it says Jesus sat down and he starts talking. Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives. The disciples came to him privately. "Tell us," they said, "when will this happen? And what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age?" And Jesus answered, "Watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming, 'I am the Christ,' and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise up against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death. And you will be hated by all nations because of me. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. But he who stands firm to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come." Jesus kind of spells out what's going to happen as the end of time approaches. And this is where I do not predict the end times. I will not do that. It says no one, in the Bible, it says no one can predict the end. But the answer that Jesus gives is, look at what happens. The beginning of birth pains. Earth, the world, people, reality is preparing to go back to what creation, reality was when God first created this. And I think you can see the birth pains. So these are the signs to look for. This is what will happen before the end comes. And it says that everyone will hate, or actually, let me read it again. Matthew 24. I closed up too soon. Because it talks about false prophets in addition to earthquakes, famines. Verse 9, then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and then you'll be hated by all nations because of me. Verse 10. Verse 9. This is happening today. Look at Voice of the Martyrs. Verse 10. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. Verse 11. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Verse 12. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. Verse 13, but he who stands firm to the end will be saved. And 14 is the important one. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. The Bible talks a lot about the end times. This is what we're to look towards. And do not be discouraged by this, be encouraged. Because God will preserve us, those who belong to Him. God is ordering events, and things are going to be reconciled according to His time plan. So this is not a discouraging passage. This is encouraging, because God's coming to make things right. Hope this answers your question. Thanks for joining. Again, keep these questions coming. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at FL Compass Church. Let your friends and family know. And remember to tune in Saturday. We're talking about prayer. And Saturday, I get to tell you a story of how this stuff worked for me. A little personal reflection. Guys, have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see you Saturday.